The next day, To asked Tay to taste several kinds of coffee that he had made. There were Americano, espresso, latte, cappuccino, and mocha. Tay began tasting them. And afterward, he wrote down his ratings. Seeing his younger brother being so serious, To said that he had only asked him to taste the coffee, not take an exam. But for Tay, he had to be thorough. Because if he wasn't, how could he know which one was better? After Tay tasted all of them, he felt that the flavors were already quite good. Feeling that it was excessive. For Tay, he was being sincere. Not because To was his brother, but because the coffee truly tasted good. The doorbell rang. Tay went to check it. During that time, To looked at the ratings his brother had given. It turned out that Fa was the one who came. Tay asked whether Fa had come because he missed him. Fa said that Tay misunderstood. He came because he wanted to meet To. Fa immediately hurried to see To. Fa then asked whether To liked Jimmy. To said that it was impossible. It must have been Tay who said that to Fa. Tay was always protective and obsessed with him. For Fa, it was fine if To didn't want to tell the truth. But To had to know about the photos Fa had. Fa said that his friend had gone to a bar last night and taken photos of Jimmy. They knew that Jimmy was pursuing Fa. To was shocked but tried to stay strong as he asked why Fa was showing him those photos. Fa explained that he and Tay were worried about To. And they could also see that Jimmy kept flirting with To. Maybe To would fall for him. Fa reminded him that Jimmy was a playboy. Fa didn't want to see To get hurt. Holding back his sadness, To deeply appreciated Fa. To assured Fa that there was no relationship at all between him and Jimmy. At campus, Tay was surprised because Fa spoke directly to To. For Fa, there was no reason to hide it. But Fa and Tay were just outsiders. All they could do was warn To. The final decision was still up to To. Fa also couldn't stand seeing Jimmy constantly messing with people's feelings. Using someone's secret for his own benefit was something Fa couldn't accept. Tay asked, "Then what about To?" Fa said that To was only trying to be strong. But in reality, he was hurt. Fa was sure that Jimmy would still pursue To behind Tay's back. Tay got angry and wanted to confront Jimmy. But Fa stopped him. He knew Tay was angry. But hitting him wouldn't solve anything. There were better ways than violence. Tay obeyed Fa. At home, To remembered Jimmy's message from last night. He also remembered what Fa had said. Jimmy came over, bringing food. Jimmy invited To have lunch together. To didn't realize that it was already noon. He had been too absorbed in his work. As usual, Jimmy was attentive to To. Jimmy even made an excuse that there was something on To's cheek and kissed him. To, who intended to ask something, stopped himself. Instead, he thanked Jimmy and invited him to eat together. Back to Tay and Fa. Fa had just found out that Tay was indeed To's brother. But he didn't know what To was really like. To was always like this. Fully committed when it came to love. If To didn't listen to their warning, they would have to let To get hurt until he felt it was enough. Tay agreed. The goal wasn't to make Jimmy leave him, but to make To walk away on his own. Fa wanted Tay to be sure that this wouldn't only save To, but would also teach Jimmy a lesson. A player like Jimmy might lose his heart to a good man like To. While Jimmy and To were having lunch, Jimmy told To that exams were coming soon, so he had to study seriously. Jimmy also thought about turning off his phone. To, remembering the photos of Jimmy at the bar, drifted off in thought again. To said it was good that Jimmy told him, so he wouldn't disturb Jimmy studying. To understood, because he didn't mind. Jimmy was happy, then hugged and kissed To. He said that To was the best. After a farewell kiss, Jimmy left. To went outside the house and looked at the pots and plants that Jimmy had given him. Seeing his brother not even eating, To felt worried. He asked whether To was okay and what he was thinking about. To made an excuse that he was just thinking about inventory for the cafe. To said that his exams would be over soon and asked where they should go for a trip. To replied that To could go without him because he would be busy with the cafe opening. To wanted to open the cafe on an auspicious date. To asked why To didn't ask Jimmy. To explained that the queue would be long if he had to ask Jimmy, because many people wanted to go with Jimmy. To decided not to go anywhere. It would be better for him to help his brother open the cafe. That night, in To's room, he tried to call Jimmy. Because the call didn't go through, To asked himself, what if Jimmy was lying to him? To thought hard. Then he went to Jimmy's condominium. Because he had the key. To entered the place. Seeing To in his home, Jimmy asked why To didn't tell him that he was coming. Was To coming to spy on him? Did To think Jimmy would sneak off somewhere? To answered that it wasn't like that. He just couldn't contact Jimmy. Jimmy reminded him that he had already said he would turn off his phone to study. And now Jimmy saw To in his house. How would To feel if he were in Jimmy's position? Seeing Jimmy angry, To apologized. But for Jimmy, the apology came too late. He told To leave. Not to contact him. And not to come to his place for a while. Unless To really wanted to see Jimmy get even angrier. Jimmy closed the door and went inside. Seeing Jimmy's reaction, To was sad. That's all for this part. See you in the next part. Thank you for watching. Until then, have a nice day.